All right. Just one more minute.
This is the agenda you're going to follow.
Okay. Good afternoon to everyone present, to the viewing public. It is now 6:01 p.m. and we are located at the Tinian Public Library um, to to have a public hearing, and I call this agenda to order. So, for the members joining us to my left, we have Representative Manny Castro. To my right, we have Representative John Paul Sablan, and to his right, we have Representative Marissa Flores. With that being said, we are ready to conduct today's committee meeting. Can I please get a motion to adopt today's agenda?
Second.
Motion has been offered and seconded. Any discussion on the motion?
Ready.
All in favor for the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All who oppose, say nay. Motion carries. Today's agenda is hereby adopted. So I would just like to say that, again, we're having this public hearing here at the Tinian Public Library in San Jose, and we'll be discussing the subject matter / issues, which is House Bill 2392 to suspend the net metering energy in the cinema and for other purposes. Subject matter number 2, we're going to be the House Bill 2397 to amend certain provisions of the Commonwealth Public Utility Commissions Act of 2006 and for other purposes. Next one is have line item C, House Bill 2398 to remove the exemption of certified Energy Star devices and solar electric power production hardware from the imposition of the excise tax. And last, we have Senate Bill 2337 to mandate the Commonwealth Utility Corporation to change the power, water, and wastewater rate for the Commonwealth Health Corporation to commercial rate and for other purposes. So with that being said, the following witnesses were requested to be present and may provide written testimony for hearing record. We have anybody from the Honorable Mayor of Tinian's office?
So good evening, Chairman Aldan and members of this committee. My name is Melanie Cruz and I work for the Tinian Mayor's office. Thank you for taking the time to hold this public hearing on Tinian to allow our community members to voice their comments or inputs regarding the proposed House and Senate bills. So please allow me first to extend an apology on behalf of Mayor Aldan. We weren't provided ample notice regarding this hearing, and therefore he had prior commitments. So we're asking if we're able to review the bills and provide written testimony regarding each proposed bill, if that's okay. Okay, all right, no, that's it. Thank you for being here, and hope you enjoy your time on Tinian. Thanks.
Next, we invited the Resident Director, Commonwealth Utility Corporation. We have a representative for Resident Director for CUC? No? Okay. Then we had the Commonwealth Public Utility Commission. Resident Director of Department of Public Works. Resident Director of Department of Public Safety. Resident Director of Department of Fire and Emergency Medical Services. And now we can move on to public comments. If anybody, right? Anybody in the public want to make comments? Please state your name for the record, and please we'll just stick to the topic, and that we can give you like 5 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Keith Neighbors, and I'm the resident director of Tinian Health Center. Throughout my 20 years with the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation, the crippling cost of utilities has been a persistent operational obstacle. The core of the issue lies with outrageous disparity in utility rates. Senate Bill 23-37 aims to rectify this financial injustice that has long plagued CHCC. As a public corporation, CHCC provides essential healthcare services to the CNMI residents while operating within a business framework, controlling operational costs and maintaining a stable revenue stream are crucial for our survival. The current utility customer classification system is fundamentally flawed. CUCC has unfairly characterized as a government entity, resulting in exorbitantly higher rates than for those for larger commercial entities. We are charged 110% more kilowatt hour for electricity, 987% more for water, and an astounding 2,173% more for wastewater compared to large commercial customers. This unjust system places an undue financial burden on CHCC, which receives less than 5% of its funding from the CNMI Public Fund. Charging CHCC at a commercial rate as proposed by Senate Bill 23-37 will alleviate this financial strain and allow us to focus on our primary mission, which is maximizing welfare. CHC must be treated like any other healthcare provider in the CNMI regarding utility rates, and Senate Bill 23-7 promotes fairness, supports CHCC mission, and ensures the sustainability of healthcare services for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Neighbors. Would it be possible to get a copy of your statement for our record? Thank you, sir. Are there any other members of the general public that would like to make a comment? Please state your name for the record, and if you like, we could provide us with your statement.
Okay, good evening, sir. My name is Rodney Cobardas, and I'm the nurse clinic manager of Tinian Health Center. I don't have a written copy of my comments right now, but I can provide you a written copy after. Yes, I totally agree with the premise, the findings, and the purpose of Senate Bill 2337, and I'm totally in agreement with the statements made by our resident director, Keith Neighbors. The large disparity of the rate being charged to CHCC really incurs a big challenge for CHCC to pay the current amount plus all the penalties computed all the way to the present. And I appreciate the fact that Senate Bill 2337 addressed to correct the issue as it asks for a retroactive computation of the charges from 2011 when CHCC was created as a corporation all the way to the present, as well as the arrears. Imagine CHCC has been paying 10% more for electricity and then almost 10 times more for the water and then 22 times more for the wastewater rate. And there has been a precedence to this. PSS was in the same similar situation in 2013, and the legislature made a broad action to correct the discrepancy, and they allowed PSS to be transferred from government rate to commercial rate. And so I think it would be fair for the CHCC as a corporation and as an independent entity that is mandated by law to be self-sufficient and be able to sustain its operation to provide quality health services for the people of the Commonwealth. So I'm here today to express my solid support for the approval of the Senate bill. And I hope that the chair of this committee and its members will consider approving and supporting this specific Senate bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rodney. Anybody else in the public wants to make a public comment? If not, okay, so moving along in the order of business, we have nothing under old business. So all right, so now that we are done with the public comments, we'll move along in the order of business. We have nothing under old business. Without further ado, under new business, we have line items, House Bill 2392, again, to suspend net energy metering in the CNMI and for other purposes. I now open the floor for discussion. All members who have a discussion? All right. Ready? Any discussion under House Bill 2397 to amend certain provisions of the Commonwealth Public Utility Commissions Act of 2006 and for other purposes?
Ready, Mr. Chairman.
Ready? No discussion. We have House Bill 2398 to remove the exemption of certified Energy Star devices and solar electric power production hardware from the imposition of excise tax. Ready? We have Senate Bill 2397 to mandate the Commonwealth Utility Corporation to change the power, water, wastewater rate for the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation to commercial rate and for other purposes. I'd like to recognize Representative John Paul Sublime.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Keith Neighbors, who is the RD for the Healthcare Corporation here in Tinian, the island of Tinian, and also Mr. Rodney for providing oral testimony. I want to take this opportunity to thank you guys as this proposed legislation, Senate Bill 23-37, in my view, would definitely benefit the Tinian healthcare system here. I just wanted to state that for the record. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative John Paul Sublime. I recognize Representative Marisa Flores.
Thank you, Chairman. And also at this time, I'd like to thank the resident director for Tinian Health Center, Mr. Keith Neighbors, and also Mr. Rodney for participating in today's public hearing. It is very important, Chairman, that the two individuals who had taken their time to come and provide their support for Senate Bill 2337 is a testament to the people in their community that such a bill and legislation would assist the agency or the health center, the only health center right now, the government health center right now, and concentrate on more important things like access and improve healthcare for their community. So thank you, gentlemen, for coming out and taking the time out of your day to show your support for Senate bill. I also agree with Representative Sablan that this does provide some solution, but the bigger picture is taking care of this so that you can provide the mission of the healthcare, which is improve services and health and access to healthcare to your community. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield.
Thank you, Rep. Marissa. I recognize Representative Manny Castro.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd just like to thank everyone from the community that's out here today to attend this public hearing. Behind every legislation, it's important that members of the community remain actively engaged, as such legislation will affect the livelihoods of our community. So thank you again for everyone in the audience for being here today.
Thank you, Rep. Manny Castro. Any other comments? No? Ready? Yeah, so the next item on the agenda, we have miscellaneous. Anybody, next item on is miscellaneous. Any member want to have any discussion on miscellaneous with regards to the agenda and any miscellaneous items with regard to PUTC? None? Right. So before we move on to the next, I just wanted the public, if I could just have a moment of your time and bring some light into the situation that we're facing with CUC. Okay. Now, we all know that CUC has a three-tier system, correct? We have the residential, commercial, and government. The reason why that the government has such a high rate, it was due to the past legislation and past, well, not so much as a legislation, but an agreement between the central government and CUC. What had happened was that the government, in coordination with CUC, decided to create the government rate. And the reason why they did that, it was one word: subsidization. Subsidization. What the government decided to do with CUC was create the third tier program, which is the government program, to subsidize residential rates. That's the reason why government rates was created. Now, on any country, when you subsidize, when the government subsidizes something, it's technically taking money from taxes that you're paying to pay for that subsidization program, right? Now, what we created at the House to improve on Senate Bill 2337 is to eliminate government rates, period. Because history has shown all government agencies were under the government rate, correct? So you had PSS that was under government rate. They fought for commercial rate, and legislation was created to put them in the commercial rate, correct? Now we have CHCC requesting for commercial rate because the government rate is too high. We all know that even the mayor's office, they're having issues with paying government rates. DPW has issues paying government rates. All these government agencies are suffering with this third tier government rate. So PSS asked for commercial rate, they got it. I can guarantee you that sooner or later, CUC or CHCC will get it. What's to stop the mayor's office on every senatorial district from requesting to be placed in commercial rate? What's to stop DPW on every senatorial district to request for commercial rate? All government agencies are going to be standing in line. So in order to just, instead of just fixing one, might as well just fix it all. One shot. Call it a day so we don't have to entertain this, issue again. Because I'm a firm believer that if John asks, guess what Paul is going to do? He's going to ask the same. And then when John and Paul receives it, guess what James is going to do? He's going to request for the same thing. And it goes down the line. So instead of everybody just trying to ask for the same thing, and then we got to keep going back and doing the same thing over and over, it's best to just get rid of it, stop the subsidization, and have the government pay the debt that it owes, period. Now, I understand that CUC or CSE is owed a lot of money, and the government should not be in the business of subsidizing and pretending that it's benefiting the community when it's technically not. You're hurting the community, you're hurting the residential community, and you're hurting the business sector. At the same time, you're hurting the government. Subsidization does not really help anybody. During good times, yes, it does. But during times of hardship, everybody pays the price. And all because of that subsidization. If you have something good today, you don't want to squander it. You want to save for tomorrow. And subsidization doesn't work. If you have something good today and you have excess, put it to the side and save it for tomorrow when things go bad. So we do have a bill, and I do support that, CHCC should be commercialized. But I also believe that so does the mayor's office, so does DPS, so does DPW, so does BECQ, everybody. Commercial rate, residential rate, call it a day. Because at the end of the day, no government agency can complain that they cannot afford to pay their bill. Unless you want to just eliminate it all and just have one rate and everybody pays the same. Because remember, subsidization is an informal way of taxation. The government right now, as it stands, owes, if not close to, if not over $80 million on CUC bills alone. Imagine that. How much is the whole entire CNMI budget that we're trying to pass right now? 114 million? Is it? Yeah. So it's simple math, right? $114 million for the whole entire CNMI. But the utility rate itself that is owed is $80 million. That's more than half of the budget. Who do you think is going to pay for that $80 million in arrears? We all are. When you look at your utility bill and it says that you use $20, right? Your usage. But then you have $200 in fact charge, in surcharge, and all kinds of charges. All those charges are to cover that 80 million. So when you ask CUC, why do you have to pay such a high surcharge or such a high fact rate? Is because you got that $80 million in debt that you cannot collect from the government because the government doesn't have any money to pay that $80 million. And that's where subsidization backfired. The government created a subsidization program to protect the residential, and it backfired. Now it accumulated over 80, like if not over $80 million. And we all have to pay for that arrears. If he doesn't pay for his usage of fuel on utility, Guess who has to cover that usage? We do. So that's the reason why that I do support just eliminating government, stop this subsidization chaos, get CUC to come in and have a legitimate, auditor come in and actually fix their financial books. Because right now, this is what I can tell you about debt. Debt technically is money. CUC has, like I said, over close to 80, if not over $80 million in collectible. What CUC can do is sell that debt to a collector so that CUC can take that money and invest in the system, right? So we don't have to keep paying excess amount of fuel or excess, debt that the government is incurring. So if you think that the government is giving you a fair shake, think again. It's not. It's making you pay double. One, it taxes you to pay for the debt that it incurred on utilities, right? So you're paying that tax, right? And then now CUC turns around and charges you more on utility because the government cannot pay the debt even after it collects your tax money to pay for that debt. So we are all double paying in all of this chaos. Can we get out of it? Yes, we can. We could. If CUC is willing to work with the legislature and the administration, we can go renewable and work things out. The less fuel you have to use and burn, the more money you can save. And there are a lot of investors out there right now that are willing to come into the CNMI and start putting up solar plants. The technology that they have today for renewable energy could alleviate the hardship that we have, that we're facing today and in the future. Can we become energy independent? Not 100%. We're still going to need fuel. But at the end of the day, we're not going to be paying an exorbitant amount of bills that cannot be paid by the government. That's all I got to say about that. So with that being said, no more miscellaneous? No more? All right. I recognize Representative Manny Kashu.
Just in line with what Rep. Chairman Aldon mentioned, costs are going to continue to be high if we continue to invest in old technology. We need to start looking at technology that can reduce our imports, whether it be solar, geothermal, hydrogen, wind. Alternative energy is the way to reduce our imports and reliance on fossil fuels. So I look forward to that day where we start investing in our energy system, microgrids, and systems that can help not only reduce our costs, but increase community wealth. Thank you.
I recognize Representative Marissa Flores.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for giving us the history as to, what brought us here to this point and, why you spearhead that committee. But for the mayor's representative, if you could also just include this 2392 would, you'll be commenting on that. If you could provide us some data in your comments on residential and government entities that are on the net metering system currently, if that's possible, so that we know what that data looks like, because we know what it is for SaiPan, and we see that there's an impact there, a very huge disparity. For me, I think for this committee, it'll be good to have that, if you can include that in your comment. Sure. Yes, please. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Chairman Ayu.
Thank you, Rep. Flores. And on another note, with regards to net metering, we're not trying to eliminate net metering at all. What we're doing is we're amending it, we're changing it. Because technically, so let's say, for example, that CUC is charging, on the household, right? They're charging 24 cents per kilowatt hour, right? On the net metering bill as it stands, the residential home are required to be paid 24 cents per kilowatt. There's nobody in the world that does net metering that it's a dollar for dollar or a penny for penny. It doesn't work that way. Net metering does not work that way. When a residential home creates more energy than it needs and it gives it back to the grid, it's half the price of what the utility company is supposed to be paying. So if the company, if CUC is charging 24 cents, that net metering is supposed to be half of that, not 24 cents. Net metering is not created to be a profit generating entity. It's created to alleviate the cost of the resident. And net metering is not for businesses, because the business is already charging customers, overhead on the products or the services that they sell. So net metering is definitely not for commercial. It is only for residential. And it's not a dollar for dollar or penny for penny. It's supposed to be half or less than half of what the utility company is charging. That's how that system is designed to work. Because let's say, for example, if CUC or any other company that comes in wants to charge 50 cents, and I decide to charge CUC 50 cents as well, guess where that money is going to come from? CUC is not going to charge me that 50 cents. It's going to charge everybody else that 50 cents. So that's why you cannot do a dollar for dollar or penny for penny. It's supposed to be half. It's supposed to remove half of your utility bill, not completely eliminate it. And as it currently stands, that is how the net metering law is written today. So that's why it has to change. Or else those that cannot afford solar will be paying such a high price. Okay? And CUC is illegally, circumventing the law by telling households that they cannot produce more than 30% of its power with solar. The law states that it's mandating CUC that every residential should have, if they can afford it, to go 100% solar. And with today's technology, for CUC to come out and say that, it's going to unstabilize the grid, that is absolutely false. The technology today that has been created has already moved around that. When your system creates more power, the system cuts itself off to make sure that you're not interfering with CUC's stability. So it's protecting your system, and at the same time, it's protecting CUC's system. So for them to restrict residential customers to only 30% is false, and it's against the law. Thank you. Right. With that being said, the next item on the agenda is motion for adjournment has been offered. Motion that has been offered and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed say nay. This meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you.